If you look at a map of the world, you will see that the nation of Israel is incredibly small. It is a tiny sliver of land in the Middle East that is roughly the size of the state of New Jersey. Yet, despite its small size, this nation is at the very center of almost every major global conversation. We see the news filled with reports of intense conflict, military strikes, and rising tensions between Israel, Iran, and the United States. Many people are asking the same question. What is going to happen to Israel? Is this the beginning of the end of the world? While politicians and news experts try to guess the future based on current events, the Bible provides a very clear and detailed roadmap. It describes a nation that is part of a much larger plan created by God. The Bible predicts a sequence of events that will involve war, a false peace, a great betrayal, and an ultimate rescue. To understand the future of Israel, we must first understand why the nation exists at all. The Bible teaches that the existence of Israel is not a mistake or a random accident of history. It began with a specific promise made by God to a man named Abraham. God did not choose Abraham because he was a great king or a man with a massive army. God chose him simply to be the start of a family that would eventually bless the entire world. God made an eternal agreement with Abraham regarding a specific piece of land. I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you for the generations to come, to be your God and the God of your descendants after you. The whole land of Canaan, where you now reside as a foreigner, I will give as an everlasting possession to you and your descendants after you, and I will be their God. This promise was not a temporary deal. The Bible uses the word everlasting, which means it has no end date. This promise was passed down to Abraham's son Isaac and his grandson Jacob. Later, God changed the name of Jacob to Israel. This is where the name of the nation comes from. According to the Bible, the right for the Jewish people to live in that land is based on this ancient promise. However, the Bible also explains that living in the land came with responsibilities. God warned the people that if they turned away from him and acted wickedly, they would be removed from the land for a time. This leads us to the long period of history where the nation of Israel seemed to disappear completely. For nearly 2,000 years, the nation of Israel did not exist on a map. After the Roman Empire destroyed the city of Jerusalem in the year 70, the Jewish people were scattered into almost every country on earth. This was a direct fulfillment of biblical warnings that predicted the people would be driven away from their home if they were unfaithful to God. During these long centuries, the Jewish people lived as a small minority in foreign lands. They faced terrible treatment, unfair laws, and violent persecution. In many ways, they were a people without a home. Most historians believed that the Jewish people would eventually disappear by blending into other cultures. Normally, when a group of people is removed from their land for hundreds of years, they lose their language, their traditions, and their identity. But that did not happen to Israel. They kept their identity and their hope of returning home alive through every generation. This survival is one of the most unusual things in human history. The Bible predicted that after a long time of being scattered, God would eventually bring them back to their original land. I will reach out my hand a second time to reclaim the surviving remnant of his people from Assyria, from Lower Egypt, from Upper Egypt, from Cush, from Elam, from Babylonia, from Hamath, and from the islands of the Mediterranean. This prophecy began to be fulfilled in the late 1800s and early 1900s as Jewish people started moving back to the Middle East. Then, in the year 1948, the modern state of Israel was officially reborn. This event was a major turning point in Bible prophecy. It set the stage for all the events that are described as happening in the last days. It is very important to realize that the Bible does not say that modern Israel is a holy or perfect nation right now. When the people returned to the land in 1948, they did not return because they had all become deeply religious or because they were seeking God with all their hearts. Most of them returned as a secular people looking for a safe place to live after the horrors of World War II. Today, Israel is a secular democracy. Like any other nation, it has politicians who make mistakes and military leaders who make difficult choices. The current war between Israel, Iran, and the United States shows how much tension exists in the region. People all over the world have very strong and often negative feelings toward Israel because of the violence and the political decisions being made. The Bible actually predicts this global sentiment. It says that in the end times, the entire world will be focused on Israel and Jerusalem, and many will be angry or frustrated with the nation. I am going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the surrounding peoples staggering. Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem. On that day, when all the nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations. All who try to move it will injure themselves. This verse describes exactly what we see today. Jerusalem is like a heavy rock that the world leaders are trying to move or fix. But the more they try to solve the problem with human politics and military force, the more they find themselves getting hurt. The current tension with Iran and the involvement of the United States are signs that the world is becoming more and more focused on this tiny piece of land, just as the Bible said would happen. One of the most famous and detailed prophecies about the future of Israel is found in the book of Ezekiel. It describes a massive future war that has not happened yet. The Bible says that a great leader from the far north will form a coalition of many nations to launch a massive attack on Israel. This leader is given the name Gog, and his land is called Magog. When you look at a map and go directly north of Israel, you find the vast territory of Russia. The prophecy also lists several other nations that will join this attack. One of the primary nations mentioned is Persia. This is very significant because Persia is the ancient name for the country of Iran. Until the year 1935, the world still called the nation Persia. Today, we see Russia and Iran forming very close military ties. They are working together and supporting each other in many ways. The Bible says that in the future, these nations, along with others from Africa and the Middle East, will decide to invade Israel. The motive for this invasion is not just religious hatred. The Bible says they will come to take a great spoil. They will see the wealth, the technology, and the resources of Israel and decide to take it for themselves. They will think that Israel is an easy target. The Bible says they will come like a storm and cover the land like a cloud. At this moment in history, Israel will feel like it has no real friends left. The world will watch the invasion happen, but no one will step in to help. It will look like the end of the nation. Israel does not win this future war. The Bible suggests they are completely overwhelmed. The rescue comes entirely from God. The Bible says that when these armies march onto the mountains of Israel, God will show his power to the entire world. This is what will happen in that day. When Gog attacks the land of Israel, my hot anger will be aroused, declares the sovereign Lord. In my zeal and fiery wrath, I declare that at that time there shall be a great earthquake in the land of Israel. The Bible describes a massive supernatural event. God will send a giant earthquake. He will cause the invading soldiers to become so confused that they start fighting each other. He will send fire and brimstone down from the sky. The result will be the total destruction of the invading armies. God does this for a very specific reason. He does it so that the nations of the world will know that He is the Lord. He wants to prove that He is the one who protects His people, even when they are not being faithful to Him. This event will shock the entire world. It will change the way people think about God and about the nation of Israel. It will also lead to the next major phase of Bible prophecy. After this massive war is over and the northern armies are destroyed, the world will be in a state of total shock. There will be a desperate cry for peace and security. People will be terrified of more war and economic collapse. It is during this time of chaos that the Bible says a very powerful and charismatic leader will rise to power. This leader will not be from Israel. He will be a global politician who has the ability to solve big problems and speak very convincing words. The Bible says he will do something that no one else has been able to do. He will negotiate a peace treaty that involves Israel and many other nations. This treaty is described as a covenant that is supposed to last for 7 years. It will likely allow the Jewish people to finally build their third temple in Jerusalem. For the first few years, this leader will seem like the greatest hero the world has ever seen. He will bring what looks like peace and prosperity. Israel will finally let down its guard. They will feel safe and secure for the first time in their modern history. They will think that they have finally found a way to live in peace with their neighbors, but this peace is a trap. The leader who negotiated the deal is the one the Bible calls the Antichrist. He is not interested in peace. He is interested in total control and being worshipped by the entire world. A very important part of what will happen to Israel involves the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Currently, there is no Jewish temple there, and the area is controlled by Islamic religious authorities. However, many Jewish people today are already preparing to build a new temple. They have created the sacred furniture, they have trained the priests, and they have even prepared the specific stones and materials. According to Bible prophecy, a temple must be standing during the 7-year period of the peace treaty. The global leader will likely be the one who makes it possible for the Jewish people to build this temple. This will be a massive historical event that the entire world will watch. For the Jewish people, it will feel like their ancient dreams are finally coming true. They will be able to perform their traditional sacrifices and ceremonies again. But the Bible warns that this temple will become the site of a terrible betrayal. Exactly 3.5 years into the 7-year peace treaty, the global leader will reveal his true character. He will break the agreement he made with Israel. The Bible says he will go into the temple in Jerusalem and put an end to the sacrifices. He will then set up an image of himself or declare himself to be God, demanding that everyone on earth worship him. Jesus talked about this specific moment in the book of Matthew. So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. This is the moment when the mask falls off. The leader who promised peace will turn into a violent dictator. He will begin to persecute the Jewish people and anyone who refuses to worship him. This event marks the beginning of the most difficult 3.5 years in the history of the world. It is a time that the Bible calls the Great Tribulation. Israel will realize that they have been deceived. They will find themselves under attack by the very person they trusted to bring them peace. The Bible describes this final period of history as a time of intense suffering. It is called the time of Jacob's trouble. It is not just a hard time for Israel, but for the whole world. However, the focus will be heavily on Jerusalem. The Antichrist will move his headquarters into the region and try to wipe out the Jewish people once and for all. He will gather the armies of the world to help him. The Bible says that 2/3 of the people in the land will perish during this time. This is a very somber and difficult part of the prophecy. It shows that the future of Israel involves a period of great trial. They are not portrayed as powerful heroes who can save themselves. They are portrayed as a people who are being pushed to the very limit of their survival. This period of trouble is designed to do something very specific. It is meant to bring the people to a place where they finally realize they cannot save themselves with their own military, their own politics, or their own strength. It is meant to make them look up and call out to God for help. During this time of great persecution, the Bible says that God will provide a way for a remnant of the people to survive. When the Antichrist begins his attack, many Jewish people will flee into the wilderness. Many scholars believe they will go to a place like Petra in the country of Jordan, which is a city carved into high desert cliffs. This place is easy to defend and has very narrow entrances. The Bible says that God will supernaturally protect them there for the final 3.5 years. The woman was given the 2 wings of a great eagle so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she would be taken care of for a time, times, and half a time out of the serpent's reach. In this prophecy, the woman represents Israel. The serpent represents the devil or the Antichrist. God will feed them and keep them safe while the rest of the world is in chaos. This shows that even in the middle of judgment and war, God does not forget his promises. He always keeps a way for people to survive and find hope. As the 7-year period comes to a close, the armies of the world will gather for one final battle. This is the battle of Armageddon. The forces of the Antichrist will surround Jerusalem, and it will look like the city is about to be completely destroyed. It is at this exact moment of total desperation that something incredible happens. The Jewish people as a nation will finally recognize who their true Messiah is. They will realize that Jesus, the one their ancestors rejected long ago, is the only one who can save them. The prophet Zechariah describes this emotional and spiritual turning point. "And I will pour out on the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplication. They will look on me, the one they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn son." This is a beautiful and sad moment. The nation will weep because they will finally see the truth. They will see that the one who was pierced on the cross was their king all along. They will stop trusting in their own power and their own alliances. They will call out to Jesus to return and rescue them. This national cry for help is what triggers the physical return of Jesus Christ to the earth. The Bible says that Jesus will return in a very public and powerful way. He will not come as a baby in a manger, but as a king who has come to set things right. He will appear in the sky, and every eye will see him. He will descend to the earth and stand on the Mount of Olives, which is just east of the city of Jerusalem. On that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, east of Jerusalem, and the Mount of Olives will be split in 2 from east to west, forming a great valley with half of the mountain moving north and half moving south. When Jesus returns, he will destroy the armies of the Antichrist and end the battle of Armageddon. He will remove the evil leaders from power and stop the violence that has plagued the earth. This is the moment when the hero finally arrives. But the hero is not a human army or a political state. The hero is Jesus Christ. He will rescue the survivors in Jerusalem and the people who were hidden in the wilderness. He will bring an end to the time of trouble and start a brand new era for the entire world. After Jesus returns and defeats the forces of evil, the Bible says he will establish a kingdom on earth that will last for 1,000 years. This is often called the millennial kingdom. During this time, Jesus will rule the world from the city of Jerusalem. This will be a time of total and perfect peace. The Bible says that nations will no longer fight against each other. They will stop spending their money on weapons and start using it to help people and grow food. He will judge between the nations and will settle disputes for many peoples. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore. Jerusalem will become the most important city in the world. People from every nation will travel there to learn from Jesus and to worship him. The land of Israel will be completely restored and will be more beautiful than it has ever been. The people will live in safety and will finally experience the blessings that God promised to Abraham so long ago. This 1,000-year period will be a time of justice, kindness, and truth. The story of Israel does not end with the 1,000-year kingdom. The Bible tells us that after those years are over, God will create a brand new heaven and a brand new earth. The old world, with all of its wars, its history of pain, and its brokenness, will pass away. In this new world, God will live directly with his people. There will be no more death, no more sadness, and no more crying. There will be a new city called the New Jerusalem that will come down from heaven. It will be a place of perfect light and beauty. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. In this final state, there will be no more conflict between nations. Everyone will be united in their love for God. The promises made to Israel will be fully fulfilled in a way that includes people from every nation, tribe, and language. This is the ultimate destination for those who trust in God. When we look at the future of Israel through the lens of Bible prophecy, we see a story that is much bigger than modern politics or military news. We see that the world is moving toward a specific conclusion. The wars we see today, the rising tensions with Iran, and the global focus on Jerusalem are all signs that the plan described in the Bible is moving forward. The future of Israel is not about a group of people being better than everyone else. It is about God being faithful to his word, even when people are unfaithful. It is about a God who uses a small, flawed nation to show his power and his love to the entire world. The most important thing to remember is that you do not have to live in fear of the future. While the Bible predicts difficult times ahead, it also predicts a glorious ending for those who trust in Jesus. The same God who is watching over the tiny nation of Israel is also watching over you. He knows your life, he knows your worries, and he has a plan for your future as well. The prophecies are given to us so that we can have hope and so that we can be prepared. They remind us that this world is not out of control. There is a king who is coming to make everything right. The best thing anyone can do today is to seek a relationship with that king and trust in his promises. No matter what happens in the news, we can find peace in knowing that the story ends with the victory of God and a kingdom of eternal peace. If this message blessed you today and you'd like to support this work, you can find the link in the description and in the pinned comment below. Your support truly helps us continue creating more Bible-centered videos.